It's your worst nightmare. Your loved one's been arrested. Now what? All American Bail Bonds can assist.
I've been doing this for almost 15 years, and I love the fact that I can help them through their times of crisis.
Inessa Chavez, owner of All American Bail Bonds.
I live here in the Valley. I love being here in Santa Clarita helping people.
Fast, reliable, personal and confidential, accepting all major credit cards or 100% financing. 255-2245. You're never alone. allamericanbailbonds.com.
Award-winning Reyes Winery in Agua Dulce is offering you a chance to be part of the Reyes Winery Home Wine Party experience. Imagine having the feel of being in the winery with your closest friends sharing unique wines from Reyes Winery from the comfort of your own home. Hosts can offer a guided tasting of 4 to 6 award-winning wines, some exclusive to the Home Wine Party Experience package. Reyes Winery wines have won more than 60 awards. The excitement begins at reyeswinery.com. That's reyeswinery.com.
Hi, I'm Kim Goldman.
And I'm Jackie McDougall, co-hosts of Broadscast, a brand new show coming to KHTS.
Broadscast is a lively, candid weekly discussion that tackles topics from current events, entertainment, parenting, relationships, and anything else women want to talk about.
So you mean broad topics?
Well, yeah, that would have been a much easier way to say it.
Broad topics, broad hosts, Broadscast.
Fridays at 10 a.m. right here on KHTS.
Santa Clarita's newest women's boutique, Miss Soul, is open in Old Town Newhall on the corner of 8th and Main Street. Miss Soul is where you'll find the trendiest and newest fashions. Something for everyone, all ages and sizes. From small to 3XL at very competitive prices. Miss Soul is locally owned and operated by our local fashion expert. Plenty of accessories, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, hats, and purses. Miss Soul, open 7 days a week. MissSoulClothing.com. Miss Soul, S-O-L, clothing.com.
Genghis Khan Mongolian Barbecue and Chinese Buffet. Healthy vegetables and lean meats. A low-carb treat. Create your own bowls with our delicious meats and always fresh vegetables. Then, blend in your own secret sauce. Feast at the all-you-can-eat buffet and barbecue for the same low price. A local favorite for over 25 years, Genghis Khan is still located on Lyons Avenue just east of the I-5. Enter between the Chevron and Shell gas stations. Come and see us soon at Genghis Khan.
Every weekend in Santa Clarita, there's literally dozens of things going on. Free events, outdoor events, not to be missed events for full-on family fun. Something for everyone. And now you can make sure you don't miss out with our Top Things to Do email. Every Wednesday, we send one email to you with some of the best things to do in the SCV for the upcoming weekend. And it's free. Go to hometownstation.com and click email alerts to sign up today.
Here's a crazy idea from Cash Call Mortgage. Take the mortgage you closed in the last year and look at redoing it at today's 15-year fixed 2.875% rate and APR with no closing costs. Just call 855-875-CASH, and with no cost or obligation, we'll tell you how much your payment could drop with the do-over refi. And you won't pay any points, deposits, or fees. None. It's so easy. Just do the regular paperwork, most of which you already did for your last refi, and we'll do the rest. So make the cash call at 855-875-CASH for today's 15-year fixed 2.875% rate and APR with absolutely no closing costs. The do-over refi, only from Cash Call Mortgage. Call 855-875-CASH and see for yourself.
Impact Mortgage Corp. DBA Cash Call Mortgage. Equal Housing Lender. Call 866-900-8744 for terms and restrictions. Rates may change without notice. California Department of Business Oversight. Residential Mortgage Lender Law License 4131083. NMLS 128231.
That's 855-875-CASH.
Hi, I'm Alan Taylor, host of The Drive, your 3-hour thrill ride every Saturday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. right here on AM 1220 KHTS. Live from the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles, brought to you by our friends at Galpin Motors.
KHTS. What you want, what you gonna do when Chevy John don't come for you? Tell me what you wanna do.
AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. This is the Neighborhood Watch, presented by All American Bail Bonds on your hometown station, AM 1220. KHTS. Be sure to download the free KHTS app by going to your Google Play and your App Store, and you can listen to KHTS wherever you are. Just search KHTS at the Google Play and App Store. We're also streaming live at hometownstation.com. So make sure you tune in. There's no way you can't listen to this show. You can also listen to the podcast post-show that we will post on our website at hometownstation.com. But this is the Neighborhood Watch. Today I'm Kyle Jennings. We have Jessica Boyer, as always, Shirley Miller, the PIO for the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Station. And then we also have Zone 2 leader, Deputy Brian Rooney, joining us as well. This is a show where we talk about crime prevention and community programs that are here in the Santa Clarita Valley. We do it in conjunction with the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff's Station. And there were some stories, some recent stories actually, and I don't know, I'm going to let Jessica take the wheel here, and no pun intended, but we wanted to talk about some, I know, right? I didn't mean to do that. But recently there's been a lot of like driving safety kind of stories going on. Or more recently, there was a fatal incident, a vehicle versus a pedestrian. And again, this is the news portion of our show where you can read, we're talking about our news stories, and you can go to hometownstation.com and read all of these stories as well. And so, Jessica, I don't know if you want to, I don't know how you want to tee this up, but we can talk about the story a little bit, and then.
So this past, I would say, weekend, Saturday, Monday, we had a couple fatal collisions, and some of those were involving pedestrians. Some of those was a crash into a tree. So we wanted to talk to our PIO and one of our deputies, and just kind of create an awareness about how to keep yourself safe, how to keep others safe while you're driving, while you're crossing the street, and just try to think about ways that we can protect ourselves and each other. So, Deputy Rooney, you were kind of telling me that you deal with this a lot in Valverde, where you guys don't have as many sidewalks, so you're constantly reminding people about how to be safe, crossing the street and walking near cars and stuff. What are some tips that you would have?
So we go over it with the kids out in Valverde a couple times a year because there are no sidewalks and there's no street lights at night. So when the program's done and the kids go home, it's dark and you are mixed in with cars on the way home. So the things I tell the kids are wear bright clothes, be aware of your surroundings. I don't know how many kids these days have earphones on when they're walking everywhere. They can't hear stuff. I was going to say that.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, it's constant. You can't hear a car, and now there's electric cars that back out of driveways, and you can't hear them. So now the engine doesn't make a noise, and you have headphones on, and you're not aware of your surroundings. And, I mean, that's the makings of an accident.
If cars are honking at you or people are yelling out their window at you,
absolutely.
They have it turned up.
Or hearing emergency responding vehicles coming,
right.
Just distractions in general, I think, is what leads to most of these accidents. Whether you're the driver of the vehicle or you're a pedestrian on a street, you have to be aware of where you're at.
How many people have you seen crossing at a crosswalk and they're texting? Have you guys noticed that? I have seen that. On YouTube, there was this person that walked right into a manhole because they were texting when they were talking. So when you're crossing crosswalks, you need to make sure that you are aware of your surroundings. Obey the walk and the don't walk signs. And even when you obey those signs, you always have to check because the other drivers may be texting or not paying attention or talking. And just because you have the right of way to walk doesn't mean that it's clear.
I tell the kids out there all the time, there's not even painted crosswalks in Valverde. There's stop signs. So cars, as a driver, when I'm driving, I like to think that I'm very aware of my surroundings. I'm in a patrol car sometimes, my own vehicle. But drivers are used to looking for pedestrians in crosswalks. So when you're crossing a street, if there's no bridge, then you should go to a corner or a crosswalk because as a driver, that's where they're expecting to see you. They're not expecting to see you come out of a center island or the mid-street.
Even if it's out of your way. I've noticed, especially high school kids and college kids in Valencia, where there's what is that, the bus station on the corner of Valencia and McBean in Valencia.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it takes them, they're running late for school, and instead of taking the time to walk up to that intersection and cross, they'll dart across.
And I was driving down Valencia Boulevard the other day, right at the Bouquet intersection, and there was a person standing on the little center divider, and they could have been. I mean, that's a 6-lane.
It's
road.
not worth trying to save time to do that.
There's so many factors involved. The city of Santa Clarita did an awesome job laying out their paseos and bike paths. There are bridges that go over most of the main streets for pedestrians and bicyclists. So does it take an extra minute or two to walk 100 yards down to the bridge? Yes, it does. But is that extra minute worth your life? Absolutely. Plus, those bridges are beautiful. You get up above the street, there's views. I mean, I don't think people think about that stuff. And then center dividers, there's trees and bushes along those things. You talk about not being where drivers are expecting you, and now you have visual deterrence. I can't see you. You're behind a tree. You're behind a sign. Those are the makings of an accident.
And if someone doesn't have the bright or reflective clothing to wear when they're walking at night, all it takes is carrying a small flashlight in your pocket, in your purse. Use a flashlight when you walk.
Or your
Make
phone,
yourself
too.
visible. Oh, that's
most
true.
iPhones, I don't know about Androids, but I know most iPhones you can turn a flashlight on.
Yes, that's true.
So-
Good point.
Yes, or jogging with earphones on. I know people love music, but I'm pretty sure when you're running, if you can't hear cars, you're at a disadvantage. I know people love running on the pavement as opposed to the paseos because it's a softer ground. Me personally, Nike, Adidas, these shoes have phenomenal technology, and I'm sure that they're going to help prevent shin splints and other things and keep you in a safer place, like the paseos and the bike paths, where there's no vehicles, rather than running in the street.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst also. That's kind of probably as a pedestrian, it's always something when I was in college, my wife and I would walk to school together, and my wife was pretty aggressive as a pedestrian, and I'm like, you always lose that fight with a pedestrian
Is
or
she
with
from
a
New
car.
York City?
No, she's not. She's from Santa Clarita. So you always assume that they can't, maybe that they're not paying attention, or
maybe it's the size of the vehicle. Semi-trucks, buses, their visibility is very limited. You may think that they see you, and they don't.
Yeah. That is a great point. Pedestrians, bicyclists, even motorcyclists, you can have the right of way and completely the other person's fault. But when that accident happens, you're most likely going to sustain more damage than the person inside the vehicle with airbags and metal and surrounded by stuff than being on your foot. So you could have the right of way, but look, make eye contact with the driver. If you don't see their eyes, don't go, because they're not aware of the fact that you're there.
We talk a lot about defensive driving. This is like defensive walking, always being prepared that the other person's not going to maybe do what they should be doing.
Absolutely.
And that transitions into, let's talk about maybe the flip side of that. Tell people that they need to be aware, not only at those crosswalks, but they need to be aware. They need to always be checking their surroundings in case there is a pedestrian in the median that's jumping out from behind a tree, or a cyclist that jets out into an intersection or something like that.
Absolutely. And as parents, I remember being a kid, I would have crossed to get to school 2 minutes earlier and not thought about it. But as a parent, I remind my kids all the time, hey, listen, I know you're trying to get to school. I know you don't want to be late. You don't want your teacher to be mad or whatever, suspension, detention, if it's your 32nd time. But walk down to the crosswalk. It's not worth causing an accident, getting hurt, or getting injured over something like that.
So be aware of, not only as a pedestrian, but as a driver as well, for those types of situations. So always use a crosswalk if you can. But what about, Valverde, so you said find a corner where people are used to, when they're driving, used to seeing crosswalks, even though they're not there. But
in Valverde, there's 3 main stop signs. And as a driver, you stop at a stop sign and you look. That's what you're conditioned to do. You look for cars, you look for vehicles. So I tell them to cross there. There's spots in Valverde where there's no stop sign. The kids out there's one convenience store in the middle of town. It's the only store we have out there. So if you're going to walk, go near there. People are looking. There's at least an awareness as a driver that there's something in that area. So just to be aware and look. Keep your head up. Look, if there's a car coming, wait. They may not see you.
And then, okay, so I have to ask, do you find that they go, because maybe kids don't want to walk, or not just kids, but individuals don't want to walk next to heavy traffic, they go off the beaten path a little bit and can sometimes get lost? Do you see that every once in a while, or is that not an issue in Valverde?
No, not really. It's a small town, so
okay.
And everybody knows everybody. There's only a couple main streets out there.
Okay, so just hop in a car with somebody, right? If everybody knows
I wouldn't do that either. But I actually see more families walking in the street than, because there's no shoulder, so they're off to the side, but they're in the street, which I think is also more visible for drivers. Not that I'm telling people to walk in the street. There's no option in Valverde. So they're walking to the right of the road, which is where a shoulder would be. There's just no shoulders or walkways out there, sidewalks.
Okay, I have to ask you, do you walk towards oncoming traffic or do you walk with traffic?
I would walk to where I can see the cars coming at me. So
Yeah.
I would walk on the left shoulder of oncoming traffic. So I'm aware of vehicles coming.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a driver texting, talking, not paying attention, drifts to the right a bit, you're not going to see them.
Probably not a good situation either way, but you probably have a fighting chance if you can see it coming, kind of a thing.
I think cell phones have offered so many distractions to everybody.
Yes.
Pedestrians, cyclists, with music, there's so many different apps. People are on their phone all day long. As a driver, as a cyclist, everything. And that distraction alone is huge. And you have to remember that driving requires your attention. You can't eat or put on makeup or any of the other things that drivers do while being distracted. It takes away from the focus of controlling the vehicle in a safe way.
And that's what for teenagers especially. It's like if you're just learning to drive and you're trying to do all this stuff at once with cell phones and texting and tweeting and makeup and eating all at the same time, it's a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays with social media and texting and tweeting and how important it is to be on the in and aware of what's going on, that the priority for teenagers isn't driving the vehicle. It's, oh my God, so-and-so's involved in this, or they're texting this or that. Their thoughts are on something other than the road. And if you live in Santa Clarita and go to school in Santa Clarita, what is it, 2 minutes, 3 minutes to get to school? I'm pretty sure you can catch up on your texts and all your stuff once you park your car safely.
Some people, I
man.
think, take selfies of when they're driving. That's so strange. There was an article in the newspaper about this lady that was it was in a different state. She was killed in a fatal traffic accident. But when they retrieved her phone, like the last thing that she did was she posted a selfie of herself on her Facebook account. Sad.
Yeah. And it is illegal to text and drive even if you are stopped at a red light, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Even if and the only way you got to pull over and turn off your car. That's how it's illegal.
You know, the one YouTube story that we use at our center, I just saw it at a training conference for part of the Youth Activity League, which is part of National PAL. There's police activity leagues for kids all over the nation. It's a video about a sister who was texting her sister and her sister crashed. So you have the driver letting the phone distract her and crashing and losing her life. But the sister's story about saying, I can't believe, like, she's got to live with that forever, that I text my sister, that I caused my sister to be distracted while driving, and now I don't have my sister forever. And that girl has to live with that. That's got to be hard. Yeah. That story sticks with me. I tell that one to all the kids. You don't want your friend to crash. So if you know they're driving, don't text. If you know everybody's going to school at 7:40 in the morning, wait. Text your friends at 8:05.
Yeah.
You don't want to crash yourself, and you definitely don't want that burden of knowing that you hurt somebody else because you thought your text was so important that they responded to it while driving.
Yeah.
Right. Good point.
I know AT&T or Verizon or one of the cell phone providers, they had a campaign, I think it was a couple of years ago, and
It can wait?
It can wait, yeah.
Yeah, well, there was the it can wait, and there was also one where, like, if you have a conversation, if you're having a texting conversation and you're about to get into the car, you have like a code word, like driving, whatever code word, and you text that to that person, and then they know not to text you back until you tell them that you're not driving anymore.
Yeah.
So one of the cell phone providers had that campaign a while ago.
All right, this is the Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds. Kyle Jellings, Jessica Boyer, Shirley Miller, Deputy Rooney as well. And let's shift gears a little bit. We had some really awesome news. It just happened. Was it yesterday? The backpacks? Well, we're talking babies and backpacks.
Babies and backpack.
Yeah.
Yes.
Babies and backpacks.
The lost backpack was yesterday afternoon. And what happened, two of our Santa Clarita Sheriff Station deputies, it was Deputy Halloran and Deputy Gillespie, they were patrolling in Canyon Country after school, and they noticed a boy that was crossing the street, and he was visibly upset. He was crying. And they approached him and asked him if he was okay. It turns out that he had left his school backpack on the Santa Clarita Transit bus, and his backpack had all of his money, all of his school supplies in it. And so the deputies They calmed him down. They contacted the dispatch center for the Santa Clarita Transit buses. They located the bus. They drove to the bus, retrieved his backpack, and returned it to the child. And there's a picture of it. I think I sent it to KHTS, but it's also on the
it's
Santa
on our
Clarita.
Facebook.
Oh, good. It's on
Yeah.
the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station Facebook page too. And it was it's nice to put things like that to the media, because the deputies, they do care, and a lot of them, their fathers, their sons, their husbands, and they're looking out for you, and they're looking out for your kids.
So, Deputy Rooney, you mentioned something during the break, where this one got, somebody took a photo and posted it, but this stuff happens all the time. This isn't just, you guys aren't just gruff guys. Well, you might be gruff, but you guys certainly are helping people all the time, right? This happens all the time, but it's just
Absolutely.
not public.
I don't think deputies in general will come back to the station and, hey, I helped some 8-year-old. It's not the tough story of chasing down the bad guy or catching the bad guy. That's when you stand around and tell your war stories, it's not usually about helping the 8-year-old. So I think that kind of stuff's been happening forever. It's been happening since I've been a deputy. It's just not the
It's something
talked
that the
about
public,
thing that we talk about.
They don't always think about, but they do it every day. They help people of all ages, kids, elderly people. It's part of their job, and they're very humble about it, and they don't really like the attention. But I think it's good as a public information officer to feature some of these everyday things that they do.
And so, well, this one's not really every day. But this is another story going along with. I talked about babies and backpacks. There was
the baby was not in the backpack.
No, babies and backpack. But Deputy Bertola, who's a friend of mine, I saw that you posted something, Shirley, on your Facebook page, on your Facebook page,
yes.
or the Santa Clarita Valley.
What an exciting day it was for him. It was last Wednesday, and he was driving down Soledad Canyon Road in his patrol car, and there's this car that pulls alongside of him, and the guy rolls his window down and just says, "Baby." And he didn't know what the guy was talking about, and then the guy says again, "Baby." And he follows the guy into a parking lot that was near Golden, what's the name of that street? I think it was near Ruther Avenue near the Home Depot in Canyon Country. And when he gets out of the car, it turns out that the driver's passenger, the female, she was in labor. She was in labor like now. And so when he found that out, he said, let me contact fire. He contacted fire right away, and she couldn't wait. He tried to tell her, they're going to be here, ma'am, just a few minutes.
Couldn't wait.
Nope. Within a matter of like 5 minutes from him pulling over with this car, the baby started to crown. So he single-handedly delivered this baby. First baby he's delivered out in the field, and it was just it was really quite the story.
There's some pretty cute pictures on our website.
Right. He was able to get a picture of one of the pictures that we sent you, the baby after delivery. That was taken in the car. The mom is holding the baby, and that was taken right after. And by the time that fire got there, baby was already out.
So that was a cool story there.
If it was a boy, maybe it would have been named after him.
Yeah,
huh?
I know, right? Yeah, but I saw.
He got to sign the birth certificate.
Did he really?
Yes, I guess because he delivered the baby.
Because he delivered the baby.
That's
so cool.
So, how many deputies have that as a story?
Yeah, I know.
I've signed a birth
That's
certificate
something, though.
because I
You go
delivered
back-
a child in a vehicle on a road while on patrol.
You'd go back and brag about that one, right?
That I would brag about.
No,
Absolutely.
wait. Can I make
as long
the
as I
story
delivered the
even
kid
better?
right.
Yeah.
Can I make the story even better? It was in the parking lot of a car wash.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Front seat, the seat wasn't even reclined back. He wanted to make her more comfortable, and he said, "Can I recline the seat back?" No. And can you need to squeeze a hand? No. And you do not. You're a dad. You don't argue with a woman in labor.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that's a cool story. You can read all these stories. You can read at hometownstation.com. This is the Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds. We'll take a quick break. More after this. AM 1220 KHTS, your hometown station. The Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds. We're streaming live at hometownstation.com on the free KHTS app as well. I'm Kyle Jellings, Jessica Boyer, Shirley Miller. Zone 2 leader, Deputy Brian Rooney, is joining us as well this go-round. And we talked a little bit about what's the goings-on in the Val Verde area. and we also talked about some pedestrian or some vehicle safety stuff, especially with the recent vehicle versus pedestrian happened. You can read the full story at hometownstation.com, and a lot of traffic stuff. So we talked about that. This show happens twice a month, and it is what we do here is we talk about crime prevention and community programs. And Deputy Rooney, we only have a couple minutes, but Deputy Rooney, I wanted to ask you. We spoke about this when we put you on the hot seat, but what are things that you see? We want people to not be victims. So what do you see that people can do? Like tangible things that you do. You talked about karma before, but what are things that people can do to make sure that they are not a victim, and what can people do to make sure that others don't become victims? How can people help?
The city's running that lock it or lose it awareness campaign, which is great. I mean, vehicle or theft from vehicles is huge out here, and most of the time it's a crime of opportunity. Bad guy's walking down and looking for stuff to steal and walks up to your car and sees a purse sitting on a seat, sees a laptop, sees electronics, something of value, and it's as easy as popping a window and taking it. So lock your stuff up, hide it. Same at home. Santa Clarita is a very safe place, but it's still no reason to leave your door unlocked or your garage door open all night with valuables inside. You're just creating an opportunity for somebody who may walk through your neighborhood that night. I think those two things are pretty big. The social media, the nextdoor.com, I think, is phenomenal. Neighborhood watch programs are great opportunities. Knowing your neighbors, knowing the people on your block, having a good relationship with them, so you know if something is out of the ordinary or looks wrong, hey, I know my neighborhood. That person doesn't belong here, or that's weird. I've never seen that before. Texting a neighbor, calling the station. It doesn't have to be a crime happening. You can call and say, hey, I've lived here for 20 years. I know every neighbor. This does not look right. Yeah. This is an odd car. This is an odd person. And they may not be up to anything bad. They might be, but we can come out and stop them and contact them and find out whether they are or aren't. I mean, just awareness of what's going on, a good relationship with your neighbors, and securing and protecting your property, I think, is huge. That right there would lower crime tremendously.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. We got to get out of here. This has been the Neighborhood Watch presented by All American Bail Bonds on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.